Hello everybody, Harvester here, and this is the third part of our map making tutorial series. And today we're going to have a look at how to set up ocean water in our map. So the first thing you're going to notice here is that I've removed the water from the lake here, and I've also updated the surrounding scenery quite a bit actually, better accommodate the water plane. So I highly recommend, if you're following along, that you download the latest release in the tutorial repository on GitHub, because it took quite a bit of doing to get the shorelines aligned here properly, and it's bad enough that I had to do it, so you don't have to. Now for this part of the tutorial, you're going to want to make sure that you're on the latest version of the Balsa.SDK, and you can check that by coming up here to Tools, Floating Origin Interactive, Balsa Asset Bundle Tools, and checking the footer here and make sure that you are at least on version 0.8. So let's get to work setting up our ocean water here. So the water in Balsa is actually handled by this plugin that you can find on the asset store called Hydroform. And as you can see, this is a paid asset. And we don't want anybody to have to purchase an asset to be able to make mods for the game. So we've provided a way to let you configure your water in your scene without having to have Hydroform Water installed. So the first thing we need to do to set up our water here is to come up to the root node of our map, which is where we have the Float with Origin script attached. And we need to add a new component here, which is called Scenery Settings. The Scenery Settings component lets us define a couple of things that we will need for the water. And these are a link to our sunlight component, which we have here. It's our directional light. So we can just drag that here. And this here defines where the sea level is. So let's just leave this here as is so we can see what this does later. So next, what we want to do is come up here to the Balsa.SDK folder in our project assets. And in prefabs, you will find a new Balsa Ocean prefab. And you can just drag that into the scene here. And as you can see, we've got a couple of errors in the console here. And this is because the Balsa Ocean object needs to be a child of the scenery settings component. Otherwise, it won't pick it up. So now we can enable our ocean water, and you can see that now we have plane indicating where the water will be. And you can see here that this water isn't really the same water you would get in game. This is really just a placeholder to let you see where the water plane is and adjust it. So the first thing we want to do now is adjust our water level so that it is in the correct place. And if I'm not mistaken, for this map, the water level that I was using is about -12. So now the next step is to configure the appearance of the water. And now if you have Hydroform Water, you could just use a Hydroform Water object prefab instead of the Balsa Ocean placeholder, and you could configure it fully from here. But if you don't have it, what you can do is use one of the presets that we've provided here in the presets folder of the Balsa.SDK. And these presets are based off of the maps that we have in the game at the moment. So tropical corresponds to the same water you would see in Wirraway Bay. Temperate is the water you would find in Robin Harbor. Arctic is the water for the upcoming Weatherfall Islands map. And generic is just a generic configuration that should work if none of the others do. And you can see here in the inspector panel, we have all the data that you need to configure the water. Now, the thing with ocean water, though, is that our preview plane is not going to let you visualize all of the nuance and detail of Hydroform Water. So the workflow here is to basically just select one of the available presets and use that. And once the map loads in game, it will be correctly configured to look exactly like the water that you would see in the other maps. So for our map here, we probably want to use the temperate water preset. So basically you just need to drag that here, and that is pretty much it. That's all you need to do to configure the seawater. So we can now just go ahead and save our scene, and we will rebuild. Let's bring up the asset bundle browser again and hit build. We'll regenerate the asset bundles. There we go. Then as before, in the Asset Bundle Tools window that you can find here in Tools, Floating Origin Interactive Balsa Asset Bundle Tools, just remember to hit Post-Process Asset Bundles in the output folder. And our build output files should all be already ready to go. So we can go ahead and test this in the game. Now, if you're wondering about how to get this map exported and working in the game, check out the first video in this series where we go into detail on how to export map assets and have them configured for the game. So here we are now in the main menu. Let's just put ourselves into flight and we can have a look. And to do this, I'm just gonna open the scenario editor here and hit F11 to hide the UI. And that gives us a nice free flight camera. And now we've got our water all set up and looking nice. So that's pretty much all there is to setting up water in your mod maps. You can see that buoyancy already works and the vehicle will follow the waves. You can go underwater and see the underwater effect. So that's all you need to do. And that's it. That's how you configure water on your mod maps. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.